Hi, Adam Taxin here at the Montana State Capitol in Helena. Look, no sunset. We may have snow during the course of this, but not worth trying to get the western view because I don't think it would work out. But they do have one of the lovelier state capitals here. In spring, in the very front, they have these flowers. I think they say Montana. I've been here in the summer, but we're not at that point right now. So let's talk about two particular issues. Beautiful background, kind of ugly issues. But let's get to them. I appreciate when people do my writing for me. I do have my opinions of my own, but I like to give people who write great stuff a chance to get their names out there. And this is one of those examples. So let's start off with what Pat Carfagno has written for me. She's out of North Carolina. And this is regarding the health or Obamacare Light or Rhino Care, whatever you want to call it. Let's just start with what she wrote. And I'm doing these verbatim. I'm not pretending it's my own work. But they're good, and here I am. I got you a good background at least. So Pat Carfagno writes this. According to The Hill, 4 GOP senators on Monday told Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell they will vote against any Obamacare repeal bill that eliminates the health care law's Medicaid expansion. Senators Rob Portman of Ohio, Shelley Moore Capito of West Virginia, Cory Gardner of Colorado, and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, all from Medicaid expansion states, said they want to ensure those covered won't be left in the cold. Speaking of cold, further, a gradual transition is needed in order for the states to have time to implement the changes. And of course, spineless McConnell complies, or perhaps he didn't have to erase the dot on an I or uncross a T because the new piece of legislation was already in that mode. And to think, I was blaming McCain, Graham, and Snow for that letter? Shame on me. By the way, shame on you, Pat. We had a conversation about this earlier. But anyhow, the GOP spokespeople, Pat Carfagno writes, have been trying to sell this as returning the power to the states where it belongs. This is code for, we're going to expand Medicaid, and by golly, you and your kids are going to be on it. The entire plan is just sleight of hand flim-flam, changing what in Obamacare is government subsidies to the poor, changing them into tax credits. Guess what? Those tax credits will go to the 40+% of Americans who already pay no federal income tax. And this is in quotes. Ladies and gentlemen, look at these 3 nutshells on the table. And if we move them around really cleverly and talk at you really quickly, while we do it, you won't be able to tell which one has a nut under it. In fact, there is nothing there. Just like in this bill, no change at all. What was our first clue? The bait and switch language in the bill. You'd have to be Kreskin to be able to discern the purpose of the bill after reading even 5 pages in. How hard is it to write, the ACA of 2010 is now repealed in its entirety. That's what we want, and the Royals know it. Add, in quotes, insurance entities will be able to sell their policies in any state in the union. And I call that a good start. 2 sentences. Pat Carfagno continues. This concept of phases 1 and 2 and 3 is all about making sure that you continue to give the Republicans the House of Representatives over the next half dozen years or so. The elites, aka the institutionalized, hope you will be afraid that that key, yet to be included, promised changes to private health insurance regulations will never become law if you vote for Democrats. Party spokespersons exhaust the concept that this will bring immediate financial relief to the middle class. This means you are once again to be on the hook for the redistribution of wealth. The Beltway Royals think nothing of the real pain and suffering that you've already been bearing over the past several years with the flat economy resulting from their lefty fascist policies. Nothing. You are to tote the party line and pronounce as often as necessary the line from Animal House. You know what's coming now. Please, sir, may I have another? Thank you, Pat Carfagno. You're doing great stuff. I had something from you at the midday report from Helena also. But let's move on to the second of the 2 things I have. And this is even more uplifting. It's from Giovanni Barricelli, and his blog has started. It's about time, frankly, overdue. And it's thepunchnews.blogspot.com. Give him love. He's excellent writer, even better analyst. Well, no, he's great at both. But again, it's thepunchnews.blogspot.com, and he wrote this on Monday, but I don't think it's too dated at all. Definitely not, given the topic. What he wrote is this. Something fishy is going on in Washington. Civil war is inevitable. Is the U.S. headed for civil war? Simple answer, yes. James Comey is requesting the Justice Department come out, quote, to reject the wiretap claim. Okay, if President Trump had his Trump Tower wires tapped, who orders it? It comes from the FBI with approval of the president, Obama. So is James Comey trying to cover his own ass? What's going on here? Now this, what follows, you probably saw it already, is from the Trump verified Twitter account. On March 4th, he wrote, that was Saturday, terrible. No, Friday. Terrible. Just found out that Obama had my wires tapped in Trump Tower just before the victory. Nothing found. This is McCarthyism. So President Trump followed that tweet up with this tweet. Is it legal for a sitting president to be wiretapping a race for president prior to an election? Turned down by court earlier. A new low. Now, mainstream media was all over this. Of course they were. When the President of the United States tweets that he has been tapped by the former U.S. president, that opens up a can of worms never done before. He accuses the President, Obama, of mingling in the election while he verbally supported Hillary Clinton. Of course, Senator Chuck Schumer had his own twist on this. Oh wait, he says this is a win-win for the Democrats. Sorry, I had to do my mini Schumer impersonation there. One, that the Intelligence Committee found something so terrible that they had him wiretapped. Two, that President Trump was delusional and that his statement was false. Therefore, that is treasonous in itself. How about this? Three, the crooked government finagled its way of manipulating the Justice Department to go to the FISA court, FISA stands for Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, and find a judge in the back pocket of Obama to agree to the tap. That's not what Schumer wrote. That's from Giovanni, Barricelli, his number three. Giovanni goes on, therefore, James Comey then is able to, on behalf of the president, for the president is always notified about a scenario as serious as this, he's able to wiretap Donald J. Trump. Is there a possibility that Trump colluded with Russia? Sure. We don't know all of what is going on. However, the possibility is so slim, less than 1%, because it would have been found out by now, especially since he was wiretapped by the FBI. Another Trump tweet here. I'll bet a good lawyer can make a great case out of the fact that President Obama was tapping my phones in October, just prior to election. The White House has wisely said they will not comment further until an investigation is done. Hence, the severity of James Comey's request for Attorney General Sessions to deny this. Unwise. It was apparent that the Democrats have tried to eliminate the Attorney General and his authority on anything that is perceived as a Donald Trump issue. Where did he take his advice from? A staff loaded with Obama leftovers. They still haven't filled the Justice Department. The Deputy Attorney General is on Obama's side. What the Democrats want is a private investigation by a supposed nonpartisan investigator. Horse. We all know that this opens up a can of worms beyond anything that is Russian-related. What does this mean? Giovanni Barricelli writes, they can get his taxes. They can go into all his businesses. They can pretty much do anything they want. So for Attorney General Sessions to recuse himself was extremely unwise. The possibility of a coup occurring sounds ridiculous, unless, of course, you really look into the facts that aren't given to you by the mainstream media. The Democrats and media have vehemently tried and will try to eliminate President Trump from the presidency. They will try this every single day until President Trump does something that is beyond unthought of. He continues, military takes over the government and creates martial law until the government is righted again. And Giovanni Barricelli continues from there. Correct, folks. Secretary Mattis would have to walk into Congress and start arresting members of Congress and close any activity not approved by President Trump to go on in the House and Senate. This would mean mass riots with mass shootings by the military. This would create mass deportation. This would mean members of the media arrested. This would mean members of Hollywood arrested. This would mean Alex Soros and George Soros and Michael Moore arrested. And this could mean, and should mean, the arrest of Presidents Obama and Clinton and the former Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton. This is where the country is leading, says Giovanni Barricelli. Yes, it is leading to civil war. The divide is too big, The inability for the left to agree with the right, as well as the right to agree with the left, is now unrestorable. So the only way that this will solve itself is by a civil war. The only way. They may dance around with riots and revolts for the next 2 years, but after that, I see no return. Whichever side the CIA, NSA, FBI, and especially the military agree with is the side that will win. And that is from Giovanni Barricelli at his blog, which is thepunchnews.blogspot.com. Thank you, Giovanni, for providing me with material there to read in front of this beautiful view. I hope that stuff doesn't happen. I don't know. I'm just a news reader. But I appreciate when you guys write me great stuff. You, Giovanni, and you, Pat, have really been coming through, carried me through this one. I'll appreciate it tomorrow, by the way. I have a lot of driving to do. I have to at least go in the early part of the day to Jackson, Wyoming, so I'll be doing something on the way and probably a midday report from somewhere in Jackson. Hopefully I'll get a sunrise or sunset, obviously not in the middle of the day. But hey, you want to write for me? Great. If you want to put comments here, great. If you want to just message me privately and tell me things I need to improve on, that's cool too. But this is Adam with the sunset report. No sunset. No snow yet either, though. And that's a beautiful view that you have of the Montana State Capitol. Thanks for watching.